How's it going, YouTube? Coming to you today with another video. And today, guys, what to bring to you is 3 different replays here that really show off what my deck does, especially being striker in this format. It's really awkward playing with one Kagari, so I've been asked by quite a few people to just kind of show off how you play the deck, how do you prioritize your Kagari, and really what is your thought process when you're going against anything in this format, because certain decks are so explosive and there's certain big cards like VFD that are just really hard to deal with, right? Especially when they have things like Chuche, or if you're playing against like a big negate board, like what do you do? So I'm going to be showing off a lot of the really insane replays that I've hit so far. I am on the Striker Draco variant right now. In the higher ranks in Platinum, I feel like it's just really strong because it really just eats through back row, especially when you're just playing against Eldritch every single game. It's really nice because it plays through cards like IO and Skill Drain, and it also allows you that grind game, gives you a lot of draw power, lets you instant spell count and grave when you have like Area 0 Heritage or Area 0 like Disciples. So I hope that you enjoy the deck profile at the end of this video, but we're going to be going through my replays and just kind of talking about how I think when I'm playing the deck. So the first thing that we're going to talk about here is the fact that we're playing against VW. So that means that we're playing against Vfd Turbo. I'm going to be speeding through his combo a little bit here because it's a little long, but the end board that we're going to be seeing here is going to be Chuche with Gossip Shadow, the Shen, and the VFD. So quite the board and quite the adventure to deal with here. Our hand is looking like Rose, Regeki, Mind Control, Upstart, Widow. Pretty good. The first thing I'm thinking about is the fact that he has Shen, and that card really does hurt. So having a burner or a Widow to respond with the Shen is the first thing that you should have in your mind when you're playing against VW. The second you see a card at the table, you need a card to deal with that Shen immediately. And I have quite a bit. So that's good. He has the VFD. That's another card that I have to deal with, but I can't really deal with this card because the second I try to deal with his VFD, I'm going to be in a really bad situation because he just goes and uses Chuche to pop it and just dodges Imperm Failure on his turn, obviously. But Widow Anchor, there's a lot of cards that they can just use to dodge. So this is why you really have to be kind of on top of what your opponent's board does. And then this is just on a monster effect. So this isn't really that relevant. This is really terrifying. And then this card just shuts me out completely. So definitely a daunting task here. So I'm looking at my hand and I'm like, okay, I have Regeki. It's still going to allow him to prompt his VFD. And he has an entire turn just to, like, honestly clap back. And if he just kills me that turn, then he just kills me that turn. This is going to be unfortunate. But this turn, I can't do anything. I can't attack. I can't activate effects. It's really tough. So I'm going to go out here on Regeki's board. You can go chain the VFD. And again, you just don't chain your anchor here because you literally just waste it to the Chuche. There's no point. So I'm going to go ahead here and use my Regeki to pop his board. It's going to be really nice here. I top decked the Lightning Storm as well. So that was really broken, just being able to get rid of that Chuche as well. I'm going to go ahead here and try to draw, get the burner. The only optimal play here I have is just set Anchor Past because this isn't right. Otherwise, I'd probably just summon like the Hayate because I played 3 in this list. Just to have some kind of security that I won't just lose because I have Ray Effect in Graveyard and like kinda, you know. So for now though, just setting off that Widow Anchor that is live is really nice to have here. He's gonna summon back this Shen, which is kind of a problem because again the card's just being able to let everything go banished. I'm gonna go out here and use the GG, trying to summon back that Nian. Go into his level 6 Synchro here, and then he's going to be comboing off a little harder. He's going to threaten my back row, though, so I'm definitely just going to steal the Shen the first opportunity I get here, because this is honestly the worst card on the board right now, like, for me to deal with. So I'm just going to be okay with this trade. This is fine. I have Burner again just for the Shen answer in the next turn. It looks like he's going to make a fan here, which is fine. There's not a whole lot I can do, and he just knows if I try to kill this thing, then I can just summon back too. So it's pretty good just to leave it on the board. He's going to get his Shen back here. I'm going to top deck the Rhoda. I'm going to go ahead and burn his Shen. So he actually lets his Shen and his Chuche go. He should have changed Chuche and popped his Shen, but like still, I guess it's fine. Gonna get Ashed here in my Rhoda, but that's fine. I Mind Control his Fan and just banish this and his Shen, and it's just GG from there. I just go in my Rose, go Hayate, send engage. And then I'm going to be able to get my Kagari to add that back, and it's going to be a very quick scoop it up. Which is always very nice because these situations when it's simplified is where Striker just thrives. It's so good. This was when I was still on the pure variant. We're going to be looking at my next one here, which is going to show off exactly why I really love the Draco cards in the deck and why it really does help you when you're playing against Eldlik. Because sometimes you just get in situations where only those cards save you in these matchups. So we're going to be looking at my hand here. It's going to be Mind Control, Kaiser, Heritage, Area Zero, and Storm. This man is going to rip Duality. Guess what the first card he sees off this Duality is? IO. So this was already an issue before it even began. So he gets the IO, and I'm like, man, this is not good. So he sets 5, and I'm like, okay, the only thing I can draw right now is a Draco card. Like, that will save me from this game. Like, even Ray would be like, eh. Like, I need to draw some kind of Draco card. And so I draw the Apocalypse. So this is pretty insane here because I can go ahead and set the Apocalypse and pop the Heritage and get rid of his IO. So I'm going to activate that. He's going to go ahead here and go with the negate on the order, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead here and set the Apocalypse. You should probably wait a little longer to see if they have a conch before you flip this in case they just chain to the conch, right? Or chain conch to this. But I wanted to get rid of this ASAP just so I knew that I could play the game right. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it up and then pop my Heritage and then go ahead and get rid of this this Imperial Order. So that's something that is always really important here. You want to make sure that you can clear that. He still has a lot of back row, but we are no longer locked under the Imperial Order. It does suck that we have the trap still live here, and we can't just Lightning Storm them for everything. You know that we wish we could. So we're going to go ahead here and go Mind Control. I'm going to try to get free fodder on my Area Zero here, but he's going to go ahead and chain Conch to pop his Golden Lord. Understandably so, you know, you don't want your opponent to get their hands on that, especially when it just nets them free advantage. I'm going to be activating the Kaiser Coliseum here, which is pretty broken against Eldritch because they can't summon more than just one. So if they just have their conch here, it's pretty much over. I'm going to add that burner here, just going to get rid of the monster. And then, yeah, my Area Zero here. Going to go ahead and get my Ray. He's going to chain the punishment. This was really incorrect. He definitely should have just waited for the link because if you have Ray and they use punishment, you can chain Ray and they lose their target. So it's pretty wild. Cards that chain for cost, pretty good. They chain and tribute, which is what Ray is just so good for, right? Gonna try to attack directly with the Hayate, get met with an Imperm, go into my Shizuku here. Looks like we're gonna be met with another middle column Imperm here as well. Super unfortunate. You never love to see it, but it does happen here and there. It looks like we're in a very good position, though. We have Shizuku, we have our Kaiser, we have our APOC in case we need to get rid of anything else. So he's a stun player. He's going to draw the nuts, right? Like, he's going to draw everything that he needs to. He goes ahead and just rips pot, and I'm like, oh, wow. And so then he draws one of the most unreal things, and you'll see here in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and get that Golden Lord and then be able to re-summon that out to the board. We're still under the Kaiser, so we're just 1-for-1 trading. He's going to go ahead here and get that Sanguine, which is fine. Sorry, it doesn't really matter here. Going to go ahead here and draw another Kaiser, which is fine. Go into my, I believe, yeah, my Hayate. So this was really funny here because I go Battle Phase and he flips Skill Drain. Man drew Skill Drain off pot. So we already played through IO. Now we're going to play through a Skill Drain, which is fine because we have Diagram, which is going to do the same thing. Go the Apocalypse with the Heritage, get rid of this Skill Drain, and then there we successfully were able to play through two of the most annoying cards in this format, which is very good to see. I love that. So I'm going to attempt here to go into another link, go back into my Shizuku. I'm not going to attack over his Golden Lord. I just want to make sure that we have equal monsters on the board at all times, so we can't try anything funny. And then we're going to go ahead and add that Engage, which made me feel very safe because at that point I'm like, okay, it's a back row deck. I don't think you can put up 600 to 700 damage regardless. He just crashes his Golden Lord into my monster. I'm assuming just to get it off the board there. This is where he actually just kind of messes up, but I'm pretty sure he just had nothing else that he could do because like my board was surmounting me way too much for him. So he goes the Scarlet Sanguine chained off of the IDP, which was just incorrect because of Kaiser. So that will be resulting in that victory. And for the last one, I saved the best for last because this replay was insane. I was playing against Pen, And if you know anything about Pen in this format, it's nuts. The things that it can do when it's not FDKing, the end boards are crazy. So my hand is going to be Harpy's Feather Duster, Heritage, Engage, Herc Base, and Area Zero. We're going to see what he can do. I'm going to put the combo on fast forward. But his end board was pretty nuts, and just being able to put up so many negates. We played through 4, and then we were able to set up our own board that he just could not out. And then you'll see in the end that he inevitably just left the game. This is pretty nuts here. So just off our hand alone, we have Engaged and we have like the Heritage and the Area Zero. But if you're thinking about like a big negate board, this hand doesn't really do anything like that much. It does a lot, but it also doesn't at the same time, because we don't have like a hard copy of Ray or anything, right? So like it gets a little harder. Like if the Engage doesn't resolve, or if like the Area Zero doesn't resolve or even hit on the Heritage, we're just not going to have Ray here, right? So that's kind of tough. It looks like we're going to be dealing with quite the board. So I'm going to be talking about a couple things here. So one, we see the Master Pendulum here, which cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects when it has a counter, which it will be getting counters very soon. So inevitably, we just can't really do a whole lot to it once it gets the counters. It's also a Spell and Trap negate. So this is a very big card against Striker that just is a very problematic thing to out. He has his Selene, which can also reborn back the other Mighty Pendulum in the graveyard. He has a Monster negate with the Mythical Beast Jackal. He has an Omni negate with the Vortex. He has the Magister of Endymion that can summon out another copy of this. So there's quite the many things happening right here that we have to be aware of, which is pretty insane. Again, we're just going to start off with this Duster, which is a pretty nice top deck here. Or we topped the Ray, rather. Or the Rose, sorry. But the Duster here is going to be really nice because we're going to attempt to blow up his scales. I like doing this because A, it really gets you to spell count faster, just trying to get spells engraved. But 2, it also just prompts a negate here because they are afraid that if you have things like Dark Ruler or like Evenly Matched, that could be a factor. They want to make sure that their scales aren't gone, so at least they can play back into you on the following turn. And the other thing that I see here is a Link 3. This is very important when I go about breaking boards because I just know I have a very quick route to access if anything goes wrong, and I can go ahead and switch my game plan on the fly. So we're going to go ahead here and start off with a Duster. Our friend here is going to negate that, which is fine. Not really the biggest of issues here, because now all we're looking at the current moment is a Monster negate and an Omni negate. So we're kind of dealing with it one at a time here. We're going to get our first spell in the grave as well. I'm going to go ahead here and try to do the thing with Heritage and Area Zero to get instant spell count in graveyard. He's not going to interrupt this. We're going to hit multi-roll because we're insane. And so we're going to go ahead and add that here. Go ahead and Heritage pop Area Zero effect. Go ahead and summon Ray. Some of that Rose because this is going to threaten the Omni negate. If we threaten the Omni negate, I'm just pretty sure he responds with this, and that's exactly what happened because this is just a monster where this is way more versatile. So you target this to prompt this. This is really nice though because my Zeke just was blown up. And, like, he didn't negate the Ray after this, but even if he didn't, like, I could just went Engage and, like, search Hornet Drone and, like, play the game again and win Kagari. So, I mean, it's kind of fine. I think it's all right. I go into my kind of here. I needed my Monster Zone just to be open, which was really nice. I really need that sometimes, you know. And so we're going to go ahead and activate our multi-roll. What's really cool about this is a lot of people don't know this, but I've been trying to tell as many as I can that if you activate multi-roll, no matter where you're at in your game state, even if you set a card next to it and you target it, they're always going to negate multi-roll. This is never going to change. It will always get negated. So this is one of the best baits that you have. So he'll go ahead and negate here. I'll go ahead and use my Engage. I'm going to go ahead and add my Afterburner, which is really important here. Going to go ahead and get my Kagari now. Kagari is going to give me back my Engage. This is usually just the most optimal time to try to put it on the board to make sure that you do have as many activations from that as possible that are actually meaningful. If there's even a chance your Kagari could miss, I usually don't go for it because I want to make sure that I do get what I'm after when I'm in my graveyard. So I'm going to go ahead and use my burner to go and try and pop this Endominion here. He's going to go ahead and negate it. But again, this card didn't have counters on it at the time, so the burner play on this was really nice, and it's a good one-for-one trade. I'm going to go ahead and use this Engage to add my Anchor. I'm going to draw that Apocalypse here, which won't really matter. Go into my Access code after my Hayate, because I needed an extra link engraved to pop something off his board with. So I'm going to go ahead and use that Herc base and attack over some monsters. If you're unfamiliar with Herc base allows you to draw cards for every monster that your monster destroys that is equipped to this card, which is pretty broken. The monster that is equipped cannot attack directly, but that doesn't really matter. It just allows you to go ahead and draw a lot. So typically you can like equip it onto your opponent's monster if you're afraid that you're going to lose. It just makes it to the point where they can attack either. I've actually won several games because of that, which is really nice. And it also lets you attack twice. So I draw Kaiser Coliseum off of that, which is insane. Then I'm going to draw again after he adds his normal spell off of his Majesty. And then we're going to see the Engage. I drew Kaiser Engage, yeah. So I broke that whole board and then I just get rewarded. It's kind of crazy. So we're gonna go ahead here and pop that scale again. Use that Engage, search a copy of Ray because you want to keep it away to play in hand. Go ahead and activate this Kaiser Coliseum. Not really the easiest job for him to do here, especially behind that Kaiser Coliseum. Now, without further ado, let's go right on over to our deck profile and what we're doing now. All right, so welcome back. And so basically, my list is just playing the 3 Kaiser Coliseum. That is really impactful because I love that card so much. The fact that it's banned though makes a lot of sense. You know, like that card's really insane. But it is still one of the strongest cards that Master Duel has to offer. There's gonna be a couple cards I'm gonna go over here. Our ratios for the Draco cards are still gonna be that 1-1 for the Ignis and the Dynamite Knight. We're playing the 3-2 ratio with the Heritage and Disciples. You want to make sure that you play a lot of these and then 3 Area 0 because the interaction between these two is really insane. Being able to send either of these spells to the grave, then use that effect to send your Area 0 to grave, summon Ray from the deck. More copies of Ray, more spells in grave feels very nice. I played 2 copies of multi-roll. I feel like multi-roll is just better at 2. I would never even play it at 3, even if in the TCG it was illegal at 3. You just want to play 2. Otherwise, very bricky card. You don't want to see it that many times, which should be very good here. We do have the ability to go second. So, of course, with these going second cards, especially with the Apox and whatnot, I'm definitely playing the Geki, the Duster, kind of like my IRL list, but just with my own spin on it in here. The other thing too is I'm playing this card. It's the Amphibious Swarm Ship and Blow Whale. This card allows you when it's destroyed to target a link 3 or lower monster in your graveyard, like either graveyard really, but like mostly just yours, and special summon it. And so you just go ahead and reborn your Kagari. And then if you're in the mirror match, you can like reborn theirs, right? And then if a link 3 or lower monster on the field is destroyed by battle or card effect while this card's in your grave, you can banish this card, destroy 1 card on the field, which is really, really strong. Especially because it says you can only use each effect, and it doesn't say either or, so you can just do both, which is really cool. I'm a really big fan of that. But just something else to keep in mind, because I've actually done that with like Hayate. I'll like crash into like another 15 and then use this effect, banish it, and like pop another card, and it's in the damage step. So like it's just like so strong. I like that a lot. But yeah, so this is the list. If you have any questions on it, definitely feel free to let me know. This deck is a little bit harder to play than just like a regular striker because there's a lot more decision making you have to make, especially when like you're summoning out your Draco monsters in the MMZ. It can get a little hairy, but usually they're just for more damage, or if you ever really need the control game, or like if your opponent ever like max sees you, you can just like summon Dynamite Knight and pass, which is really nice. So I hope that everyone has a wonderful day and that you all enjoyed this video. I'll catch you all in the next one.